has more problems to learn something than the rest of the group.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. So that is exactly what your uncle, your dad's brother Bob is doing. He's having groups and he's updating their knowledge, right? He's giving them
Yeah,
private lessons to get updated in math. And I believe that is an excellent idea and that must be multiplied several times. Look, the student that I have here is a good student. Don't make me wrong.
yeah,
She's very smart. She's got an average of almost 9. She had a 10 in history, a 10 in biology,
hmm,
9.5 in this, but in math, she doesn't know the tables. And you say, how can that be? How can you be so smart in many subjects and not good or not even average in another one? Well, that's what happens
yeah,
sometimes. So I believe that that idea of giving private lessons to update a student or a group of students in any topic that have to do with math, it can be biology, chemistry, physics, etc., is a great idea, right? And then they recovered part of the time that was lost. Well, that's a great idea. Okay. Thank you for your comments, Mitch. Thank you for your comments, Mickey. I sent you a very interesting list of books, great
mm,
books.
psychology.
Yeah, those are. Oh no, I'm sorry. Let me see what I'm clicking. I sent you what? I sent you a list in the morning that I saw. I think these books are really good. I don't know if you had a chance to go through them or to glance at the list. Can we take a look at them and give a comment? This is a book review that I'd like to go over
Hmm.
and see what you think. So let me share the screen and let's read the psychology books. They call psychology books, but they're actually self-improvement or self-development books. They will
Hmm.
help every person become a better person. Simple
Yeah.
as that. So let's take a look at them. Um, let's see the first one. This one I have read. I haven't read the other ones, but this one I read. Can you go through it really quick, Mitch, and see what you think?
And what it's about?
What it's about? Yes, it's
Okay.
think fast, think slow. Think fast and think slow.
Uh-huh.
Oops. Okay, here. Oops. Okay, there.
uh, what it's about? One of the most significant academics and thinkers of the past 50 years, Daniel Kahneman, is a psychologist, a Nobel Prize winner, the founding fathers of behavioral economics are amongst Tversky and Kahneman. Lyman's description of their complete body of work is found of thinking fast or slow. In his Four of the Human Mind, Kahneman describes the two systems that govern our thought processes. While System 2 is the slower, more deliberate and rational, the System 1 is quick, intuitive, and emotive.
Right. It's when you make decisions very fast, and when you are very intuitive, and then you make a quick decision, and it turns out that it was right, and you didn't analyze. You said, and why did you decide that, Mitch? And it was a correct decision. Well, I felt it. It was my intuition, and it was right. Some people have a great intuition or system one, and some people have a bad way of deciding quickly, so they need to analyze very quickly. How would you describe yourself, Mickey? More intuitive, more rational?
Uh, I try to be more rational, but sometimes I make decisions intuitively. Intuitively,
Intuitively,
yeah.
right. And how do they turn out? Would you say that most of them are accurate, are precise, are very close to the target? Or if you have a name here, would you say
Mhm.
that you hit in the inner 5%, in the inner 10%, in the inner circle 25%? How would you rate the accuracy of your decisions?
Probably 35 or 40%.
40% accuracy?
Yeah.
Um, what do you think about that? It can be improved. You're happy with that? What do you think?
Well, I think that I can improve, and I could be more rational sometimes.
Okay, so when you decide intuitively, you think that you will be in the 35% accuracy.
Hmm.
What about you, Mitch? When you decide intuitively, how accurate are you?
Um, 60%.
60%. So you consider yourself to be quite intuitive or quite precise when you decide intuitively.
Yeah, usually I try to be more rational, but sometimes escapes for myself to think it slow, to analyze all the components and elements of the situation, and I am only deciding intuitively, seeing the way of the sociology form of the behavior of the each person to make to make my own decision. Then it depends.
Okay. It depends. It depends on
Mhm.
what? On the situation, on the context, on the
The
circumstances.
situation, if I don't know all the components or all the information that I have to know to make my correct decision, then I go to the other form. There is intuitively decision, and I think the intuitively is a little more risky if I don't know all the possibilities that could have each decision and the consequences. But well, if something don't happen or don't occur like I want, I get a little mad. But it's just sometimes.
Okay, very good. Excellent. Very, very nice comments. Thank you very much, Mitch. What is the constraint, Mickey, to decide intuitively over deciding rationally? Are there any constraints or any reasons, which there are, of course, constraints? Which are the constraints or restrictions, which is the same, right? The
Hmm.
constraints or restrictions to decide quickly or intuitively versus the option of deciding rationally, which are the limitations or the constraints that we have. Why do we sometimes have to decide quickly, intuitively? What is
Um, Sometimes we need to decide quickly because there are moments in our lives where something suddenly appeared and you need to do a decision, and probably you don't have all the time to do a rational decision. So in those cases, well, you need to use
your intuition?
with intuition. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. If we had all the time in the world to make a decision, we would decide perfectly all the time, right? So that's the first constraint.
Hmm.
Time. Time is a constraint. Time is a constraint. Very true. Um, in what other situations we decide quickly, even if we have the time each? Let's say that time is not a constraint, but yet we decide intuitively, regardless of making a correct or incorrect decision, we decide quickly. Why? Why is that, Mitch?
Intuitively,
Intuitively, yes.
um, with or moral the feeling of what is correct and what is incorrect.
Or okay, our morals, or yeah, our personal ethics or morals uh, lead us to decide on what is right or wrong quickly,
Hmm.
right? Is that it?
Could be.
Could be, yes. So if you say, "Oh, this is wrong," I simply don't do it because it's wrong, and you don't need to think about it, right? You have your moral very straight, very clear, so you don't have to spend time because you know that is what is right and what is wrong is wrong. That's the idea behind your comment. Okay, the personal ethics. Okay, well, that's what the book is about. This book is fabulous because it talks about how we make decisions. And now, why you should read it? Can you read that, Mickey, please?
Yes, teacher. Why you should read it? This book is for you if behavioral economics even slightly interests you. It is an impressively rich book with valuable self-help advice throughout, particularly when Kahneman describes his work with Tversky, his late friend and colleague, who would have undoubtedly shared the novel with Kahneman had he lived. The book is consistently funny and frequently moving. The way you think about how you think will change after reading this book. This book will assist you in discovering your true self from a scientific perspective.
Scientific
Scientific
perspective.
perspective, because Kahneman is so modest and unassuming.
Unassuming.
I'm gonna teacher. Uh, it's because the lyrics
The lyrics, yeah, the words are very small. The font.
no are not so visible. I don't know if it's my internet. Probably it's my internet.
Well, let me copy this. I will copy this here.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
It's better.
Mhm. Um, this book will assist you in discovering your true self from a scientific perspective. Because Kahneman is so modest and unassuming, you can't help but appreciate his writing. You'll become aware of all the terrible things your brain does. You will have a slight decrease in self assurances, a slight increase in awareness of your own prejudices. How do you say that, teacher?
Prejudices.
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 And mental shortcuts, and a slight increase in skepticism against all the BS that is being thrown your way by other books and other people.
Yeah. What he says with that, what he pretends to say with this, is that we tend to react and behave in a programmed way, not
Yeah.
in a conscious way, but in a programmed way. So we are programmed to act or react in a specific ways, which are not always in our best interest. What do you think of this, Mitch?
We are
This,
programmed to act and
Well,
react.
Mama?
Uh,
I'm sorry, specific
could
ways.
be. It is an like an human instinct to follow some paradigms that society established since the beginning. But if we stop to think and analyze everything, maybe we can go against those instincts and do another things. But yeah, by default, we are programmed to follow the others and how can I say pertenecer?
Belong
How belong to the how can I say manada?
to the crowd.
Ajá, to the crowd. Crowd is more multitud, no?
Right, yeah, you can use it like in a similar way here. Belong to the
Yeah,
mass, to the
I
mass.
see the humans as another animal. That's why I said. Uh,
Belong to the crowd, to the mass, to the multitude.
mhm,
Well, that's very interesting, Mitch. Very interesting. So, what you think is that society establishes some paradigms and people tend to follow them without questioning them.
mhm,
And then, if you question those stigmas or those laws or those rules, you need time. That's the first thing you need, right? You need time and analysis to, how can you say, to judge some of the laws and regulations of not only society, family, uh, and the world at large. In other words, when you talk about specific norms and regulations that you like or that you don't like, that's legal to check them out, right? Okay, first off, we have to analyze. I need to stop in a red light. Yeah, but there is nobody here. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. Nobody's coming from the right, nobody's coming from the left. I just left a family member in the hospital or in an orphan's house or in the anxious house or elderly house or whatever. Or I went to a city, I went to Toluca, and I arrived there at 2 o'clock in the morning. The traffic light is red, no cars, no nothing. Will I cross the street or will I stop? Well, you can say, I can wait 2 minutes. Nothing's going to happen in 2 minutes. Or you can say, it's a waste of time to just wait 2 minutes at 2 o'clock in the morning and there are no cars, the street is empty. Yes, the law says that you should stop in a red light, but I have my own responsibility. I have my own mind, my own understanding. What do you do in this case, Mickey?
Mickey disconnect.
Oh, Mickey got disconnected. I'm sorry. Mickey got disconnected. Well, what do you do in this case, Mitch? You are in Toluca, you are in Guadalajara, you're in a town at 2 o'clock in the morning driving your car, and there is a red traffic light. Do you stay there 2 minutes or you
Mm,
pass?
I think I pass if there's nobody in the street.
Okay, very good. So you break the law, but you have a justification, right?
Yeah, the nothing gonna happen. Well, if I see that someone it's too far in then another street and it's coming right to me, well, I pass, or maybe I wait him a little bit. But if it's really far, I think if I pass, nothing bad gonna happen.
Okay, that's very, very interesting to know and to understand for yourself. Right. What about you, Mickey? We're talking about crossing a red light. Well, first of all, in general, we're talking about we're gonna break or not, or we're gonna discuss some paradigms, some laws, and some regulations that are in society, in the family, or in the world at large, in a corporation. Um, and I gave the example of Mish or you, Mickey, driving your car at 2 o'clock in the morning. You're in Guadalajara, you're in Toluca, you're in Querétaro, whatever, and you face a red traffic light. It's red, that the street is empty. You see, you turn to the left, you turn to the right, nobody, nothing. The street is empty. Do you wait there 2 minutes or you cross the street?
Actually, I wait because you know that there are like some cameras, and if they record your how do you say placa ID card
Plates, plates.
plates, well, you know what could happen.
And probably you think, well, 2 minutes is nothing, right? 1 minute and a half.
I preferred,
You prefer to wait.
yeah.
All right. And Mitch says that she would cross the street, checking, of course, that no cars are coming.
Well,
I'm not going to criticize anyone. I'm not going to say this is good or this is bad. Because I've been in that situation myself. And one time I was in Oregon, and there was a sign that said full stop, right? Stop like this. It was full stop, and I had to stop, and I didn't stop. I didn't fully stop, and I got a fine, and the fine was $150. $150 that I had to pay as a fine because I didn't make a full stop. Full stop at 7 o'clock. Fine, fine. I'm sorry. Fine for not doing a full stop at no, not 7 o'clock. 6:45 because I had a class at 7, and I got there 15 minutes earlier. A full stop when there was nobody. I was a student, and the police officers pulled me off and told me, "You didn't do a full stop." I said, "Well, yeah, police officer, but I'm driving at 5 kilometers per hour. I'm almost in zero. No cars were coming from the right, no cars were coming from the left. So I'm a student, and $150 is a lot. Forgive me this one time, please." He says, "Well, I'm sorry. I need to give you a citation, but you can get a discount if you go to the city and you pay in the first 5 days. You get a
Yeah.
60% reduction." I still had to pay $50. But they didn't forgive you anything. They told you, you need to pay. I will give you a citation. They gave me a citation. See? And I told them, but look, nobody's coming. No cars on the right, no cars on the left. I am not driving at 20 miles per hour. I'm driving probably 2 or 3 miles per hour, really, really like very slowly. Yeah, but the sign says full stop. I said, no, that's overly strict. What do you think about that, Mitch?
No, if there is a sign of full stop, it's like that, literally full stop.
Stop. That's what it says.
Well, we can do nothing. Uh,
Exactly. Full stop is zero, right? Not 1 or 2 kilometers per hour. Full stop is full stop. Well, yeah. Tell me about that. I was working, besides studying, I was working in the coffee shop of the university, and I was making $5 per hour. So plus to $5 per hour. That was 10 hours of work. That's what it cost me, 10 hours for not making a full stop. So you measure the risk. I didn't know, of course. That was partly the problem. I didn't know what the consequences could be.
Yeah.
And I think many people decide based on the potential consequences. Do you ever decide like that, Mickey? Based on potential consequences, if you break the law, you do something wrong? Or how do you base your decisions when there is something which is forbidden, or you decide based on your principles, or you decide based on what is right and what is wrong? How do you make the decisions?
Yeah. Well, for example, happened to me. Uh, I think that sometimes it's necessary to have like the experience or that happened before to you, because one day I park my car uh, in the left of Plaza Ibeles,
Okay,
and when I came to my car didn't have plates, so I needed to pay the fine.
fine. Yeah, you pay the fine. How much
Yeah.
was the fine? 600 pesos.
I paid in the first 5 days, but I remember that were around 85 or 90, yeah, 8,500.
Oh, 800 pesos.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a lot of money.
Yes, the fines now are so expensive.
Yeah, but they're actually much more expensive than in Leon, I believe.
Yeah, I think so. For example, one friend was driving in Cuarto Cinturón, and he was driving around 89 kilometers per hour. And suppose that in Cuarto Cinturón, the maximum is for 60 kilometers per hour, I think. And I don't know if you see where
The sign is yes.
yeah,
Laws.
um, well, he was around 80 or 90, and the how do you say transitos teacher?
Police, the officer.
The officer?
Yeah, the officer.
Okay. Yeah, and the officer stopped him, and the fine were, I think that one 1,050, 1,500,
Ouch.
and was because we're in the first 5 days, because I think
Is
that
that
it's
true?
yeah, it's so expensive.
Yeah, that is true. It's amazing. But, well, the law is the law, right?
Hmm.
But then what Mitch says is also very interesting. She says that there is a point in which we should challenge the rules and the regulations. Yes, at the beginning, you should obey. If you say, okay, I agree with that law, with that regulation, you take it or you leave it, right? Those are some of the laws in clubs, obviously in the family, in some institutions, the universities, etc. But then there is a moment in which you can challenge the law, or the laws and the regulations. How easy is that? How easy is for us to challenge the law of a school? They tell you, hey, you should start classes at 7 a.m. And you say, no, that's too early. I want to start the class at 10. Is it easy to change that or difficult?
It is difficult because exists like a system, and the system says that classes start at 7 a.m. and well, you need to agree.
Right. And also, some systems are even very slow. I don't know if I ever told you about this, but did you know that the priests used to give mass back, giving the back to the audience? The priests gave mass, giving their back to the how do you say this, to the people, or facing the altar. And then in one of the councils of the Vatican, they said, well, it was enough. Now it is more important that the priest faces the people, not the pulpit, but the people. So the Council of Trento, I believe, I think it was in this one, and one of the popes, which I believe was John 23, or I don't remember the name, to be honest. But one of the popes says, okay, no more. Pope says, priest faces the audience, the Pope facing the people, not the altar. So turn around. How long does it take you, Mickey Mitch, to turn around? I mean, instead, hey, Mickey, and you turn around, right? How long does it take you? Two
Mm,
seconds? 1 second, 3 seconds?
2 seconds probably.
2 seconds, okay. You know how long it took the Catholic Church to make the priest turn around and give the Mass in front of the people? How much time it took?
Uh, I think that years, right?
Yeah, exactly. The Pope gave the indication, el Papa dio la indicación, the Mass, the priest facing the people. El Papa dijo, los padres de frente a la gente. It took 40 years to implement it. 40 años para implementar the order of the Pope. 40 years. What do you think? Is that bureaucracy or not?
Mm, no.
And I think that a part of that, the mass were in Latin, right?
The
Or
mass was
something.
in Latin. Yeah, the mass was in Latin, and eventually they decided to give the mass in the native language of the country. For example, if it was in Mexico, it was
In
Spanish.
Spanish, yeah.
If it was in German, it was in German. If it was in France, in French. But imagine that. Imagine that your dad tells you, "Okay, kids, from now on, every Sunday we're going to wake up at 7, everyone." After 40 years, everyone starts waking up at 7. It doesn't
Wow.
take 40 years, right? In other words, uh, implementing a law, one, it has been decided, is another issue, right? It's like if I tell in my family, I tell my daughters, okay, girls, now every Sunday we're going to go to the park. That is the new law. And then they say, oh, well, yeah, okay, accepted. And it takes 3 months or 1 year to implement. That's a long time. Imagine 40 years to implement a regulation that the Vatican accepted as mandatory. What do you think, Mitch?
Wow.
Mm,
40 years to
what
implement.
was the reason that they take it so long to make
Well,
that
people
change?
say that, well, the Pope has to make a document with the approval of the cardinals. The cardinals. So, do you know the hierarchy of the Catholic Church? Which is the hierarchy? Let's do the hierarchy.
Mm,
Who is the top person in the Catholic Church?
Pope, the
The
Pope.
Pope. Pope. After the Pope, who is next? ¿Quién sigue el Papa?
Mm,
Uh,
uh,
the OB?
Cardinals.
The Cardinals. Cardinals. And below the Cardinals,
Mm,
OBs?
bishops and
Bishops.
archbishops. Bishops and archbishops, right? And after the archbishops and bishops,
Priest.
the priests, yeah, priests. Okay, let's take a look. Let's see if you can find this in Google, please. Which is the
The
hierarchy
okay.
of the Catholic Church. Hierarchy of the Catholic Church. Please, guys. Hierarchy of the Catholic Church.
Mm, I found here a picture.
Oh, can you share it with us, Mickey, please?
Yes.
Let's see. Okay. This.
Mm,
Oh, and you, here it is. Okay, very nice. Actually, they believe the archbishops are above the bishops, huh?
yeah.
Okay. Deacons. All right, this is fantastic. So can you read it, please?
Yes. The Pope is the supreme leader. He is the head of the Catholic Church. Currently, Pope Francis.
Pope
Um,
Francis. Right.
the next one is cardinals. They are there are they are leaders of the Catholic Church, nominated by the Pope.
Yes.
Next one, archbishops. Serve over several dioceses. Dennis Hart is the Archbishop of the Melbourne, well, of the Melbourne Archdiocese. Later, bishops, a senior member of the Christian clergy, usually in charge of
Diocese.
diocese.
Right.
Priests serve to one parish. Diacons an ordained minister of an order ranking below that of priest. And the last one is the lady.
The
And
laity, the laity, yeah.
the laity, they are people of or church members who serve the hierarchy.
Hierarchy, yes.
Hierarchy.
So
Hierarchy.
yeah, I was short of the deacons. The deacons are also part, actually below deacons or
Mm-hmm.
diaconus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Deacons, and then the laity or the people who go to church, or the creyentes, right? Let's say laity. Okay, but this is the hierarchy. So Mitch is asking, why did it take so long? Well, the Pope gives instruction to the cardinals. How many cardinals are there in the Catholic Church? Can you check that, Mitch, please? How many cardinals are there? Just to see the extension of this structure.
Cardinals were
How
in
many
the West.
cardinals are there in the Catholic Church? ¿Cuántos cardenales? How many cardinals are there in the Catholic Church?
There are currently 128 serving cardinals.
128.
Of
Okay,
those, Pope Francis created 88 from 56 countries.
okay. How about bishops and archbishops, please, or archbishops? Let's say archbishops, which are in a higher hierarchy than the bishops. I think the bishops are in a lower category.
Mm, how many archbishops? As of 2020, there were approximately 5,600 living bishops total in the Latin and Eastern churches of the Catholic Church.
5,000?
5,000.
Okay, and then priests, there's going to be millions. I mean, I would say 10 million priests or more, no more.
Yeah.
I would say millions, not thousands, but millions. Yeah, so imagine then you need to give an instruction to every person in the world to follow a specific regulation. But
Mm,
yeah, still 40 years is a long time.
and in 2017, there were a total of 400,000 582 priests.
Uh, 400,000, how many more?
582.
Priests. I thought there would be millions, but it's only those. Huh? Well, it's not that many. I thought there were more. Okay, priests and then deacons and then laity people, believers. Okay,
Apart of that, teacher, I think that priest and how do you say monjas?
nuns,
Nuns?
nuns,
I
nuns.
think that the tendency is decreasing.
Said, why do you think, Mickey?
Because, well, my mom works in Atenas,
Ah, yeah,
and there are no so many uh, nuns, do you say?
nuns anymore.
Yeah, to cover all the schools, and or the nuns are too elder,
Old.
old. Yeah, so and I think I read that only in Guanajuato, San Luis, and Zacatecas, I think that is where there are uh, preparing people preparing to be priests, and in the rest of Mexico, there are not preparing more priests.
Really?
Yeah,
It's impressive. Well, I don't know. I don't know what to think about this. But it's a
Mm,
complex structure. Do you okay? What do you think about this structure compared to the military structure, military hierarchy, Mitch? If you compare this to the military, do you think it's going to be very similar or very different?
teacher,
Without
sorry. May I
yes,
go to the bathroom so quickly?
absolutely, of
Thank
course.
you.
Go, Mickey. What do you think about this structure, Mitch? comparing this with the military structure?
Well, I think each structure of huge organization there is some of each people needs a level depending of their chairs or their job. It is similar, obviously, because each person of the that organization do something different depending of the church that the ones who govern that organization prefers, and the same as the um, what was the name?
Well, the military,
Mm,
would you say then, Mitch? Thank you for your comment. Would you say that the military structure or hierarchy is more similar to the Catholic Church, or the automotive industry is leaner, more lean? What do you think about these organizations? Let's say the Catholic, military, or automotive structures. How are they comparing them with each other? How is the Catholic, the automotive, and the military structures? Are they similar? Are they different? How do they compare with each other?
mm, I think I did similar. Um, because both are related directly or indirectly with the society, and each person do something different depending of their ability and aptitude.
Okay, yeah, but you are aware that there are vertical and horizontal organizations, right? So which do you think that is more vertical? The military, the automotive, or the Catholic organizations? In other words, some organizations in the
Um,
car industry, for example, tend to be um, leaner. When you say leaner, is less vertical, more horizontal. And that happens in the car industry, for example. The car industry, organizations tend to be leaner. That's why they call it lean manufacturing, for example. They say lean manufacturing is you give the instructions and they are carried out immediately, directly, no waste of time. Not 40 years like with the Catholic Church. They obey immediately, they follow, they are organic, right? So automotive industries are normally or need to be and tend to be more flat, right? This is a flat organization. Lean, actually, if you see lean manufacturing is manufactura esbelta. That means that organizations are not very vertical, which have a boss, a boss, a boss, a very long hierarchy, and that
Yeah.
makes it very slow, like in the Catholic Church or in the military, right? In the wine industry is similar, very vertical. The boss, manager, sub-manager, sub-sub-manager, assistant, first assistant, second assistant, third, very vertical, right? You have like 10 floors. And in the car industry is the opposite, very flat, lean manufacturing. So let's take a quick look at the military organization, please. Let's see how the structure is. Can we take a quick look at the
Yes, sure.
military organization, please? Okay, military organization. Let me check.
Military organization.
Military, yeah, the military structure or military organization is going to be very similar to the Catholic Church military organization, but I think very different from the car industry organization too.
mm,
I can guarantee that.
How can I search it, teacher?
Military structure or military organization or military hierarchy. Military hierarchy. 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 Hierarchy.
I found here. Well, I think that depending too of the country, right?
Well, most likely yes. Yeah, but where did you find it? Can you share it with us? With us?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I got it. Okay, here it is. Uh, oh, I
I'm
lost
gonna,
it.
yeah, I'm gonna share only the picture.
Okay, very good.
Mm-mm-mm. It's here, I think. Can you see it now?
Oh, yes, 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 yes. Well, you can see that it's also vertical.
Yeah, this hierarchy is from British military.
Okay. And then it goes from the bottom rank to the top rank. Actually, the top rank is in the bottom, right?
Yeah.
Right. So these are the levels. First level is a cadet, then the second lieutenant, first lieutenant, captain, major, lieutenant colonel, colonel, brigadier, major, general, lieutenant general, general, and field marshal. The marshal is the top person in the military hierarchy in England. Is that it?
Yeah, yeah, Field Marshal.
Field marshal. How do you see this diagram, Mitch? What's your opinion about this diagram?
Um, I think it's similar, like the Catholic Church. As I said, each person, depending of their level, do something different and something easy or difficult, depending on the level too. Same as the Catholic Church. Just in this case, there's more levels and more churches.
Yeah, well, yeah, there is only one militia per country, right?
Mhm.
And the Catholic Church is international, and I mean, it's an international organization, whereas the military is domestic. Okay, now let's see if we can find let's look for lean manufacturing hierarchy or lean manufacturing structure. Let's put it like that. Lean manufacturing structure. That's gonna be, well, exactly that. Lean manufacturing structure. And when you say lean, you go LEAN, lean manufacturing. Lean manufacturing industry, or yeah, lean manufacturing industry, or structure. I'm sorry, structure. Structure.
I found here different types of way to show the hierarchy.
Okay. Well, you will see that most of them will be one, two, three, or four levels, no more. Whereas in the Catholic, in the military industries, you will see 10 levels
Yeah.
in manufacturing. Right? Yeah, well, look at the one, uh, let's see. Well, they're lean because they are lean, they are esbeltas, right?
Hmm.
Manufactura esbelta is what that means. That is not very tall, rather flat, and that produces more agility, faster decisions, and faster implementations. So if you want to implement a change, you cannot take years, even days. You need to do it immediately. That's why the idea that came up with the Japanese, I believe. So,
Yeah.
do you agree with that, Mickey?
Hmm.
Do you know the concept of lean manufacturing, Mitch? And it is applied in industry, in car industry mainly, but also in other industries? Or is that a
Mm,
new concept? What do you think? What do you know about lean manufacturing,
no, no,
Mitch?
it's a new concept for me.
It's a new concept. Do you consider that factories that in industry in general should respond fast to client demands, to client needs? What do you think about that? Or why do you think organizations want to behave or respond more quickly to the customer demands or customer needs, Mitch?
Hmm. The ones which the majority of people want, not a few people, the majority of the clients, because if the enterprise do something that the most of their clients want, the most probably they gonna buy to them again, and they gonna gain more money. It's about money.
Okay, very good. Exactly. Yeah, thank you very much. So you want to make more money, and you will do that by responding to customer demands more quickly. Well, we're talking about the structures, and we're talking about vertical and horizontal structures, and that is the long response to a short question. Mitch asked, why did it take so long for a vertical hierarchy like the Catholic Church to implement a change? Well, because it's very vertical, it's very slow. The government has a similar structure, very slow.
Hmm.
The Catholic Church is very strong, very powerful, very well structured, but because it's very vertical, it's very slow, as opposed to the car industry, which is lean, and consequently is very fast. So that's the reason. Well, let me go back to the initial topic, that is the book review that we were looking at. Let's take a look at the second book. Mitch, can you read it? Please, can you read about the black swan? What is a swan? Do you know what animal is a swan?
Sister?
Cisne, exactly, exactly. Can
Sorry,
you?
teacher, my screen is with the conceptual link production. Can expect.
Oh, okay. Let
I'm gonna
me.
disconnect a little.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to share. Okay. We are in the second book, right, Mickey? What book are you reading in this moment, Mickey? Did you finish reading that book that you recommended? Very nice, by the way. The Obstacle is the Way. Did you finish that book?
Actually, I finished yesterday, and I'm gonna start with the I have here actually. Is the book that we were reading, well, the preview. Think Fast, Think Slow.
Oh, really? Oh, that's a fantastic book.
I download for my Kindle, and now I'm gonna read that book.
Really? Oh, that's a great book. It's one of the best books that I've ever read. But if you allow me to give you a small recommendation, read it slowly, because every
Hmm.
small chapter is very, very profound, very deep, and very interesting, of course. So, well, I'm not going to tell you how to read, but my recommendation is that you digest it thoroughly, because it's very, very interesting, but it has a lot of concepts in each chapter. So you're gonna, it's like a good food, like a good meal, but very
Hmm.
heavy, very intense. So I'm sure that you're gonna love it, you're gonna enjoy it, but I would say that you take it little by little.
Yeah,
My
step by step.
step by step, yes, my little recommendation.
Yes, sure.
Okay,
Thank you.
yes, 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 you're gonna love that book. Let's do this one. The Black Swan, Meet You Back.
I
Let's see. Nassim Nicholas Taleb, it sounds like from Lebanon. I don't know what he is, but Nassim. Okay, can you read that, please, Mitch?
um, 10 psychology books.
Nassim Nicholas Taleb is the book
Ah,
about
where
black.
it's about. Okay, okay. where it's about Nassim Nicholas Akre. Taleb presents the idea of the black swan in this book. A black swan is a highly unlikely event that has three main characteristics. It is unpredictable, it has significant impact, and we invent an explanation for it. After the fact that makes it seem less random and more predictable than it actually was. Why should why you should read it?
Okay, continue, Mitch. Why should you read? Why do you think you should read such a book in which something unlikely to happen, like a comet, like a tornado in Irapuato, like an earthquake in Irapuato, is not something that is likely to happen. It's very unlikely.
Mhm.
Like something that you don't expect, and then you think it is unpredictable, but then you create an explanation. Because people didn't know that Irapuato also had some tornadoes every 100 years, and it is time for this tornado. And then that explanation makes the event more predictable, or looks as it was more predictable than in reality was not. That's what the book is about. So let's read why we should read it, Mitch, please.
Mhm. Why you should read it. This is certainly the book to pick if you don't like reading books in general and want to read just one that combines psychology, statistics, real life, and human behavior. Taleb's writing displays a genuine enthusiasm and dedication for the ideas he advances in the book. Ideas that are deserving of your full attention because they are based on his own observation and experiences as a risk analyst. And this book is a helpful method to comprehend what it actually means to manage with uncertainty in life and business. The Black Swans move through complex philosophical debates and depth humor with the same grace and its namesake. Your interest is Nassim Nicholas Tarek's knowledge and insight on the philosophy and uncertainty is likely to be um, picky. And the excellent life in the words of Bertrand Russell is one inspired by love and direct by knowledge. This type of knowledge is the most severe and real world and applicable.
The most severe, right? Very good. What do you think about this book review, Mickey? Does it make you curious and wanting to read it? What,
Yeah, actually, yes. I didn't know this book, but I like that mix philosophy with uncertainty in life and business. So yeah, sounds interest interesting for me.
right. Do you think it would be possible for a mathematician or a computer analyst or computer geek to make a software or program that can make predictions with a certain degree of certainty? I am redundant here. I'm making many redundancies here. Make a software or program, make some type of program that can make predictions with a certain degree, with some degree of certainty. With some
Mm,
degree of certainty. Is it possible or is that impossible?
I think that there existed one program in programmation that gives you like a preview that probably this how do you say when you're programming something?
When you develop a software as a program,
Yeah, or
Coding?
beta, it's in beta stage, a program in beta stage, under
yeah, I think
test.
that I don't remember the name of the program, but the program says that probably it's not gonna be successful, or yes, it's gonna be successful depending of the codes that you're using. But it was only on programmation.
Okay.
C++.
Hmm?
C++, C++.
Mm, yeah, but there isn't a specific name of that function. I don't remember now.
Uh, uh, um, it's not the random function, right? Random.
I I don't remember the try. Probably, yeah.
Because there are some numbers that you can generate randomly.
Mm-hmm.
And then, for example, if you want to generate a random number between 1 and 10, what you do is, I think you make a function more or less like this. You say equal a random uh, between a set number. Well, I don't remember the code. But there is a way to generate random numbers between
Yeah.
1 and 10 or 1 and 100, etc. But then in this case, we're trying to do the opposite. We're trying to forecast or to predict an event. It can be a natural event, can be a social event, can be any type of event, right? A human event that you can predict with a degree of certainty,
Mm-hmm.
90% accuracy, 100% accuracy. And you can do this mathematically or with experience, or you can also try to do it intuitively. We mentioned this one time. And remember, Mitch, that Mickey, we mentioned one day that women, even if they are very young, you don't have to be 40, 50, or 60 to say,
Yeah.
oh, that boy is going to turn around and look at me or look at us, or he's going to look at that person. You don't have to be 40 or 50 or 60 to predict accurately that that is going to happen. Sometimes adolescents can make predictions based on observation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they are normally accurate in many things, not in everything, but in many things they are accurate.
Mm-hmm.
But we also, that is intuitively. We want to do it mathematically or with a program and not predict only human behaviors, but for example, how do you say this? Natural events, natural disasters. You want to predict an earthquake, a flood, a drought, an earthquake, a tornado. So, is it possible to develop some kind of software that can make predictions? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think that there exists, right? Because, for example, in the coast or in the beach, um, the people who say the weather says there are probabilities to, I don't know, I'm gonna say something and not too uh, likely.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's a probability that there's gonna be a tsunami, and well, they check that for the sea level, if there are earthquakes in that zone and that kind of things. And I think that is with a software, right?
Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah, yeah, that's true. I'm gonna. What do you think about this type of idea, Mitch?
The tornado.
Can we make predictions about tsunamis, tornadoes, floods,
It's like
droughts,
something empiric, right?
empiric? Well, it begins empirically, but then it becomes more scientific because precisely what Mickey is saying, right? At the beginning, it is empirical, but at the end, it turns out to be, but it becomes scientific because data, you gather data, analyze it, and make predictions. 95% probability of occurrence, 80% probability of occurrence, and you can only give an estimation.
Mm-hmm.
Provide an estimation. My estimation is that in the next 100 years, there's going to be a flood in Irapuato. Well, a flood is something serious, right? Or a drought, and you can use that not only for natural situations, but also social situations, right? For example, you can even go to things like what is the probability of having a shooting in Irapuato in the next 5 days?
90%,
90%, right?
95%.
90%. Well, okay. Then the question is more complex than what it looks. Is it possible to scientifically make predictions based on data? In other words, is the occurrence of situations a consequence of something else, or things in life are what is this random?
Mm, no, it depends of a lot of factors to make a certain conclusion.
Okay, but even if it depends on various factors, Mitch, can you reach a conclusion if you have all the elements, or everything in life is random?
All the elements become from somewhere, but we have to find them because not always are in front of us.
Okay, so you are taking. I'm going to use a philosophical word, deterministic.
Nothing is random. Nothing can be random.
Wow, that's
Mm.
an incredible comment. I like it, but
Mhm.
it's
The
prone to
karma
debate.
doesn't exist or something like
Can you repeat the last phrase, please?
I think nothing can be random in this case, in this kind of predictions, because it's like someone said that you're gonna have karma. Karma doesn't exist. All the factors and the things happen for something, but not by magic or something.
Okay. So, what do you think about that, Mickey? Do you agree? Do you think a little bit different? What do you think?
Mm, well, talking about predictions and that stuff, I think that in part everything everything is random, because uh, for example, there were cases where talking about tsunamis, that tsunamis um, collapse the buildings and the beach, and well, probably the people know that probably that could happen, but then was that happened before they thinking, and well, there was a prediction. So
But
I
that
think
isn't
that.
random.
Hmm?
That isn't random.
Did you say that everything is random, right?
No, nothing can be random in these kind of predictions.
Hmm, I don't agree.
Mm. Everything happens for something. Even the climatic change have their origins and their, how can I say, raíces?
Roots, the
Mhm.
roots.
Right. Roots,
Not always.
for example.
Hmm. For example, teacher, one tsunami could be created just for, I don't know, for the movement of the waves and the sea level and the position of the sun, of the position of the moon, right? Or there's must be like a third party to create them.
Well, that's incredibly interesting. This is a fantastic conversation because there is this adagio, as they say, a butterfly moves the wings.
Yeah,
In,
that's true. Mhm.
how is it in the west, or
Mhm.
similar to that, right? Please
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong. A butterfly moves the wings in the west, and in the other side of the world, there is a storm. More or less, this is the idea. What does it mean? Well, that the slightest movement, the slightest thing has a tremendous consequence elsewhere, except that, as Mitch, and I think you mentioned the same too, Mickey, we don't know the facts, right? But,
Mhm.
and that is not only valid talking about natural phenomena, right? You tell your friend, you tell your sister, or Mitch tells her brother, tells you one day, "Hey Mickey, you're a smart person," or you tell Mitch one day, "Hey Mitch, you are very creative. You have a lot of interesting ideas," and you don't know what effect that kind of word is gonna have in that person. Maybe she's gonna, "Oh, Mickey told me this." She's gonna be in a great mood. She's gonna see. A potential employer. She's gonna get there in a very good mood. Hey, hello, oh, I'm very happy for whatever reason. And then she's gonna close a great deal with this businessman or with this company. And then that's gonna make her a very successful person. Well, of course, there are many more ingredients, not only a nice and polite word, right? Or vice versa with you, right?
Yeah.
So, what the point is, a very small thing can have a great consequence that we probably don't know. But also, and what makes this conversation truly interesting is that there is also things which are hard to explain. And let me give you a short example, please, which I think I gave you once. Um, there is a story of what is it? Tell me an Arabic name, any Arabic name, Salim or whatever. Say Salim. Okay,
Mahat?
Salim. Who?
Mahat?
Spell the name.
Oh no. No sé. I don't
Okay,
know.
well, let's say Salim went to see the Maraha, right? Maraha. He went to see the Maraha, who is the boss, right? Boss, the boss. And says to him, "Excuse me, Mr. Maraha, Mr. Boss, Mr. King, Mr. Whatever, right?
Mhm.
I went to the market and I saw the death in a threatening voice. And you know that I'm an excellent man. I have my family. I work very hard. I pay taxes. I am a good man. And I don't deserve to be threatened by the death, right? I don't want to die. I am a man of principles and I want to live.
Mhm.
Can you help
Mhm.
me?" He says, "Of course. Hey, my assistant, please give my best horse to Salim and go take him to Damascus." And here he goes to Damascus from Baghdad, right? They are in Baghdad. And then the Maraha says to his assistant, "Okay, Salim is going to Damascus. He is safe. He's no more in Baghdad. He went to Damascus. And he will be there this afternoon in my best horse. Go to the market and call the death and bring him in front of me." Oh, here goes the death, right? Here goes the death, and the Maraha tells him, "Mr. Death, you are frightening, you are scaring one of my servants, who is Salim, who is an excellent man. And why do you why do you scare him? Why are you frightening him? Why are you threatening him?" And you know what the death says? He says, "Excuse me, Mr. Marajao, Mr. Boss, Mr. King. I was not trying to scare him. On the contrary, I was very surprised." And the king says, "You were surprised? But what is the surprise?" "Yeah, my surprise is, what is Salim doing in Baghdad if we have a date, if we have an appointment in the afternoon in Damascus, right?"
Mhm.
Mhm.
So he was surprised, thinking that he should be in Damascus.
Yeah.
And the king, trying to save his life, just sent him from Baghdad to Damascus. So he's gonna die no matter what he does. What do you
Yeah.
think about this story, Mitch or Mickey?
Mm, that sometimes uh, probably there's always a purpose, or there's always I could say like a mission, and the things happen for a single reason, and we need to know how to deal with that.
Okay, it makes total sense. Of course, we're not talking about absolutes, right? We're not talking about absolutes. We're talking about things which we can debate, which makes it very interesting. What do you think about this, Mitch? Thank you, Mickey.
Mm, a lot of things are happening at the same times around the world, and usually we are not preparing for the ones that are gonna enfront or confront. So we are preparing for just some of them, but not for all. And and maybe with if something that we don't know or we don't know how to act happen to us, the thing's gonna end or too good or too bad. But that's why we have to learn about everything a little by little about everything to try to be prepared for everything in one point.
When you say, excuse me, when you say in one point, what is that one point? What do you refer to when you say we have to be prepared for everything?
or or well, I mean en a cierto punto o en algún punto.
Ah, okay. Uh, to a certain extent,
I think.
a certain extent, hasta cierto punto, right? To a certain extent, yeah,
Mhm.
not totally, not 100%, but to a certain extent, maybe you get prepared for tomorrow's rain. Well, you take an overall, or you take something, a coat, right, an umbrella. But you take one umbrella, you don't take five, right? So you prepared to a certain extent, but not 100%. Is that the idea, Mitch?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yes.
very interesting. Okay, so let's make a summary of, well, we just talked about two books. Predictability. That's one of the most interesting topics that you can ever talk, I think. Predictability. Randomness. Randomness. These are two great concepts. What do you think about these two concepts, Mickey? Just to close the conversation today, predictability and randomness.
Um, well, I think that predictability is something that we know that's gonna happen, or that will happen, or yeah, something that gives you like the security that something gonna occur.
Okay, gives you a degree of certainty.
Mm-hmm.
Very good,
So
excellent. And then a word that thank you very much, Mickey. And a word that you have mentioned quite a bit, Mitch, which is randomness. I'm sorry, I misspelled it. Randomness. What is your feeling about randomness?
Mm, I think randomness it is a concept that only us made for the things that happen to us that we are not prepared for. Which I said a lot of things are happening at the same time, each time, every minute. And if something that we don't know, that we don't, um, how can I say, esperábamos?
We did not expect.
we don't expect happen. That could be random for us, but not can be that random for other people, which it was prepared for that situation.
Exactly. So you say that we just were not aware of some of the elements that were there, but we didn't know,
Mhm.
right? We were
Yeah,
not aware of those, but they existed. They were present, except that we didn't see them at that time. Very good.
exactly.
Why don't we do something for next meeting? Why don't we do some research about these two interesting concepts, predictability and
And randomness.
randomness?
Yeah.
Yeah, if there is what your opinion is, if it is possible to predict everything or some things, and if everything is random or if nothing is random, like Mitch, I understand she suggests, and then we have a little bit of discussion of these two topics. How about that?
Yes, teacher, it's great.
Yes, okay. And also, a second thing, please, please, please. You're reading great publications, great articles, great books. Why don't we give like a little summary of the progress? I don't expect that you're going to read a complete book in half a week, but if you give us like an advance, a summary of what you've been reading, Mich Miky.
Okay, teacher. Yeah, it's perfect.
A
Yes?
summary of
Mhm.
what?
What you have been reading. If you read an interesting article, you can say, I read this article and this is the summary.
Okay.
Yes?
Yes, teacher, it's perfect. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Mitch, Mickey, thank you very much. Have a great day. See you next week, then.
Next week, teacher. Yes, teacher. Thank you very much for your
Thank you
time
so
and
much,
take care.
teacher. Thanks for the class and your time.
Thank you very much. Take care and say hello to
Bye
the
bye.
family.
Thank
Bye.
Thank
you.
you,
See you
teacher.
soon.
You as
Bye.
Take
well. Have
care.
an excellent weekend.
You too. Thank you. Bye.
Good
Thank you.
weekend.
Bye.